Hey there. I thought I would get on live, excuse me, and just go over something that I do see a lot of people talking about when they are having difficulty with the foot, particularly when they've been standing and that foot goes in, and that just can cause all kinds of havoc, can't it? Hard to get that tone to settle down. You might have noticed that weight bearing really helps, but how can we begin to control this foot so that from the time that we stand up, everything's okay, all right? A lot of it has to do with what I typed in the note above is symmetry. So you want to keep your body in midline. And then that can be a big problem for some folks because knowing where midline is can be a problem. So that's something you're going to have to practice, is being able to find midline and recognize it in your head. It might feel like midline, but you need other people around you maybe to stand in front of you and see if you're really sitting up in the middle or if you are favoring your stronger side. That's very common. So if you go to stand up and you are already off onto your better side, you are not weight bearing well through your involved side, and that can be a problem. And that's one of the reasons why that tone kicks in. There are, you probably have heard about patterns of what's called extension. So as the hip gets straight and the knee gets straight and you're getting your foot under you, there can be a whole pattern of movement that you may not like so well. So when the hip is getting straight, sometimes it wants to go inward and the foot wants to go inward, and then there's a rotation oftentimes too. An inward rotation. So we want to make sure that we're not keeping that knee in. We want to make sure that that knee is well over the foot, all right? Not out, not in, but right over the middle. Middle is really good. Middle is where we want to be as our foundational starting point, okay? So if we're lined up in the middle and our knees are over our feet, then we can practice from this position going straight up. And if you do that and your foot is planted, you're going to get the weight bearing through that leg before it has a chance to kick in all of that internal rotation and that movement at the ankle. Okay, so that's key to start in the right position. Now it may be difficult to start with like this, so often I will use a chair in front of the person, all right? I'll sit off to the side here a little bit. And you can practice this midline with your hands together. If you can't control your involved arm that well, you can practice going forward straight. Now you see the chair yourself. You can see where the middle of the chair is. That's where you want to be. And then you want to practice stretching straight out towards the back of the chair again so that it's all right there. In that forward position, then, you want to be able to practice, and you might need help. I don't know everyone's situation. Whether you need help for stability and safety, by all means, get that. This is not an exercise for everybody. This is an educational video just to kind of show you what's necessary, all right? So you want to get your nose over your toes, but it's all in the middle so that when you go to stand, you're in the middle, the foot is planted nicely. And then as you start to extend the hip, and you might start getting some extension in the knee, and that's a whole nother area, you will at least be in midline, all right? I know my head just got cut off. And that is going to help with the tone in your leg and keeping that internal movement happening. Primarily, I like to see people do a lot of things in standing before they just take off walking, because you need to be able to control your hip, your knee, and your ankle in standing, all right? We always want to work on stability first, that midline position, and keeping control of these isolated joints before we add mobility or all that movement, because your brain has to work even harder to keep you balanced. That has a lot to do with things I've talked about in a course that I have on the hero in your brain, all right? Needs to know where middle is. It needs to know, again, where stability is. And from that point, and from that midline point, we can move forward. So just some helpful tips. I know it's not the whole picture, but I think if you just pay attention to where you're sitting and that you're coming up in the middle and that you're working on that standing in the middle posture and then finding middle, I've got some other videos on that, you'll be a step ahead. All right? I hope that's been helpful. Thanks for joining those that have, and I'll catch you later. Thanks. Bye.